Welcome again, Dave Putz from JKP Holdings. Alongside me, Mr. Nathan Turner. How are you?
Very good, very good.
Take two. So I'm really excited that this week we just did a video last week and we're doing a video this week. So if you missed our last week video, which was regarding hypothecations versus note partials for both buyers and note sellers, definitely tune into that, our podcast. How's your week been turning out for you, Nathan?
It's been good. Raising some money, buying some notes.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Share in our pre-call, what we actually going on is I'm actually buying my first hypothecation, hopefully today.
That's exciting.
We're working some stuff out, and we're gonna see how it goes. It's been a little bumpy in the beginning, but I'm really excited about it. And I'll share more about that as we move forward. I'm sure that you guys will learn a lot about that deal as well as I have. And if you've done those kind of deals, we'd love for you to kind of put it in the chat box and whatnot. Yes, this recording will be recorded. It will be on live. It will be on YouTube. It'll be on LinkedIn, everything possible and everything else. So you're buying notes. What are you buying right now? What are you looking at?
So I just got a tape of, actually, I'll share with you later if you're interested, but I've got some loans, a whole bunch of seller finance loans, mostly bridge lending loans. So they're short term with payoff after 12 months, all in Georgia, which is already kind of a scary thing for us. However, they're all to, because they're bridge loans, they're all to companies. So that circumvents a whole bunch of the things that we're trying to avoid all the time and trying to work around. So
interesting.
Yeah. So I've got a tape of those that I'm looking at, and then some other seller finance notes in North Carolina. That guy that I met at Directed IRA Summit a couple of weeks ago that I was at. So really interesting stuff. There's seller financing. It's been around forever and ever. And you and I have been around notes for long enough. We've dealt with institutional for the longest time. We've been focusing on seller finance the last year or so. And the more we get into it, the more I realize that there's just a ton out there. And I think more recently, I would say in the last 12 months, there's been an upsurge of people that are doing it as a business rather than just the mom and pops that have been around for eons.
And when we first got into this, we thought it was just the mom and pops we were focused on, and we weren't sure about this stuff, but we're finding out rather quickly is that there's a lot of people doing this right and wrong, and that we want to take advantage of that as soon as possible, right? And I think one of the best ways we can do is to understand that side of it. And we've been doing on a mission for 2023 is bridging the gap between the seller finance investors and creators and wrap note people that are joining our calls right now and us note buyers. Because this bridge, I think, will give us plenty of inventory moving forward for the near future.
We can do a ton of business together. I love the seller finance people, and I've done that in the past. I really appreciate the hustle, and I'm more than happy to let them do the hustling. I'm more than happy to cash them out so they can turn around and do it again.
Absolutely. I think for most people, they don't realize why each side needs each other and benefits from each other, right? You go out there as a seller finance creator, go find the house, subject to, wrap it, whatever you're going to do. And now we're going to cash you out, right? And when we talked about last week with hypothecations, we're actually giving you a loan, right? We're actually going to loan against your note and give you money where you're going to handle the whole situation. We're not taking anything of it. You're just going to keep working with our money and pay us on a monthly basis and we'll move forward from there, which is similar to partials. But, in your conference, we had the DME. Again, I'm going to plug it. We have the videos on our website, DME 2023. Take a look at those videos because we had some really good speakers on both sides of this panel giving some ideas and some understanding of what this note world is about on both edges, because it's key for everyone.
One of the goals was to bring together all the different facets of notes. So there are so many different ways that you can approach notes: seller finance, residential, commercial, first, seconds, I mean, there are dozens of different ways to approach it.
Yeah.
So that we're trying to do that and bring everyone together. And I think we did a pretty good job of that. And it's great to see all the different areas coming together and talking together and learning from each other.
Just this week, we're trying to close today. Hopefully we'll get everything situated, but it's really a guy who bought a loan, has a hard money lender for a short term and needs to cash him out. So we're solving his problem by giving him longer term money, and he's to keep going. He may pay us off early. We hope he doesn't, but if it does, it does. And for us, it really kind of helps clarify that this world of buying banknotes at 3%, 4%, 5%, we don't need to do that. We're not handcuffed to buy those kind of notes. I think it's huge for us.
Yeah, it's huge. There's so many notes out there. We're trying to help those that are doing the seller finance to do it properly and correctly. Yeah, and that's been a big mission of ours. So
yeah. So we'll for those who are creating notes, this is for you as well as note buyers. But we're doing is we're becoming that bridge for you guys, so you guys can build and create, originate, secure, and better notes, not just get money, put a person on property, and be in a spot where you can lose everything in a matter of a few years. So what we've done since January is really connect with the leading people in the space of creative financing and really kind of network with them so that we can actually help them move forward and create notes, but also teach their tribe how to do it the best way possible.
Yeah, so they can get the most money out of it. They can do it legally without having any, never having to look over their shoulders to see who's going to be bringing down all kinds of really heavy penalties. We want to help everybody who's doing this do it right, and we can do it.
Yeah, we've had the underwriting calls, we've had RMLO calls, right? So if you're curious about if you have an owner occupied in there, make sure you hit that. So I'm getting Dave Putz from JKP Holdings, Nathan from Earnest Investing. We're two separate companies, both note buyers, looking to bridge you guys up. But today's special guest is a guy who we respect a lot. We've talked a lot with him. It's been awesome, right? We have Mark Monroe, who's been a leader in the space of creative financing for only part of his life. The other part was doing what we do and partially what he did. So Mark, I'm really excited to have you come on today and just share with your group as well as us about creative owner financing.
You're on mute there, Mark.
Nope.
There we go.
Sorry about that. Thanks. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for having me on. I appreciate it. We actually met about a month and a half ago, early June, up in Nashville, and I highly recommend anybody listening to go to the next event next year. It was a great networking event. You learned so much, but the networking is unbelievable at that event. So I'm looking forward to the event next year. You guys already have the date set or not yet?
Yes, indeed. May 31st, June 1st. Back out in Nashville, same place.
It's a good location.
A lot of people wanted to go downtown. Downtown is just a little too distracting. We're there to learn, first of all. We'll have fun at the same time.
Yeah.
It's only a bus. It's a quick bus ride. It's 20 minutes downtown. And I think you guys had a bus from the hotel that took people right downtown. So if they wanted to do that, but it's convenient right near the airport too. So it works out really well. So I highly, highly, highly recommend anybody that's looking to get into the note buying, especially in the seller financing game. It's going to open the door up for a lot of you guys that are out there originating, doing these seller financing and you're holding paper, but then you have another whole world where you actually can turn around and sell your notes. In the beginning, a lot of people, when they come into doing seller financing, they're just structuring a note because they want to acquire it, and that's the first leg of what they're trying to accomplish. But then what you can do is you can turn around and sell that note and then learn different ways of structuring it, because a lot of times you guys are out there structuring it just as one note. But in fact, if you want to sell it, you structure it as two notes. You do like the 80-20, and then you try to get 20 or 25% down from the seller. So when you do that, you're creating more value for yourself.
So we'll make a note of that. We'll have maybe an in-depth talk about that next year. We'll make a note of that.
Yeah. All right. So I put in the comments section, the video recording for those people who are curious to see what it's about. You can definitely order the recordings from this last event. Mark spoke, he was one of the guest speakers, which was awesome. This is all notes, right? All real estate notes. We've had some people in their trailers, land notes, all that kind of field is amazing. So we want to make sure that people understand that we're both sides of the coin here. And I want to stress that as much as I can. Mark, it's funny, most people who get into creative financing typically came about it by accident, right? How did you get started in creative financing, but in real estate in general? Your background has some impressive stuff.
Well, I don't know if I ever told you guys what how I got into this. My first one, I was like 19 years old, and I was in a small little town up in Vermont. And what happened was I did the Carlton Sheets book, and I went and got these bandit signs and like, we buy homes. I put them up on the telephone pole. Meanwhile, I got in trouble because I didn't know the municipality. I was 19 years old. I didn't know any better. And I put about 20 through the area. So this guy called me up. He goes, "Hey, I got this mobile home for sale. It's worth 21,000. I want 18 for it." And I'm like, "I'm not interested in a mobile home." Calls me back another week. He goes, "Hey, I got this mobile home. It's worth 21. I'll let it go for 15,000." I'm like, I'm really not interested. Calls me back like a week or two later. Goes, "Hey, give me 12,000 for this mobile home." Then I'm thinking to myself, okay. But I started asking questions. Said, "Do you own the land?" He goes, "No, I don't own the land." I'm like, I'm not interested. So he calls me back another month, goes, "Give me $6,000 for this mobile home. It's worth 21,000. Now I'm thinking to myself, okay, now there's a deal. But I'm like, I kept going to the same routine. I'm like, "Why do you got to sell?" He goes, "I don't live in it. I have lot rent due. I don't have the lot." I'm like, "I'm gonna be frank. I'm not interested in a mobile home, but I'll give you 3,000 for it." He goes, "Give me 4,000. I go, "No, I'll do $3,000. So he agreed to 3,000. So what I did is I hung up. I said, "I got to send somebody out, do the inspection. I got to go get a contract." We didn't have the internet, so I had to go to like Staples, the store, and we had to get the carbon copy, the contract. So I hung up the phone. I called the newspaper up. I put an ad, mobile home for sale, $25,000 with $3,000 down. Lady called me up. And she goes, "Hey, we loved it, we liked it." So I ended up doing a note. She gave me $3,000. I took that $3,000 and I ended up giving it to the seller. And I created a note at like 7.5 or 7.75 at like 7 years. So I was 19 years old. That was my car payment, my insurance payment for like 7 years while I was going to school. That was my first note deal. So anyways, so what happened was, then at that time, I kind of got out of doing that a little bit. I got sucked into the corporate world a little bit, and I got into real estate banking at the age of 24, 25. I ended up having a mortgage company up in the Washington, D.C. area, about 107 loan officers. So I had that for a few years, and that's where a lot of my clients were investors. So I became friends with them. I started seeing the different strategies, and just over the years, I just kind of evolved and really, I understand the note world and how to structure it and how to make it where a lot of investors, they try selling seller financing to sellers, and the sellers usually say no. But if you use your amortization schedule and show the seller how much money they're going to make 5, 7, 10 years down the road. I had one just recently with one of my students. A guy was in North Carolina. They tried selling it. They couldn't sell it. And they're like, "All right, we want 3 years." And I just didn't feel comfortable because the market is at the peak, and if the market pulls back a little bit, there's no room there. 3 years is just not enough time to give the equity in that property to be able to refinance it. So we did an amortization schedule. We sent it over to him. We pulled it up. I jumped on the phone. "Hey, do me a favor, pull up the amortization schedule." In the beginning, it breaks everything down, the finance amount, the payment, the terms, the rate. I said, "Go down to line 120. That's 10 years.
Yeah.
How much money in this scenario would you have collected?"